All right, welcome to, whoops, smack. All right, welcome to Chatter with Statter. Hey, Sass, good to see you here today. I'm a little bit late, spent a little bit of time primping in the bathroom, apparently a little longer than I should have, but glad to know people were hanging out, just waiting for me to show up. I don't have a whole lot planned for today. So I'm hoping the chatter will be able to scatter and we can figure out just where we'll be headed this afternoon. I did want to play a couple videos from my rainforest trip. They are unedited raw footage of, well, some more woods and a cemetery, because I found a cemetery in the middle of the woods. So that was unexpected, but yeah, there we have it, Rabbit. Hey, Poppy Cheney, good to see you here this afternoon on Chatter with Statter. Thanks for coming in and joining us at the Statter Box. As I'm sure you all know, I am Mad Statter, this is Chatter with Statter, and every Thursday and Sunday we come here on YouTube, 4:30 p.m. West Coast time, 1:30 Hawaii time, and 7:30 p.m. East Coast time, to talk about anything and everything as long as it doesn't matter. Chatter, by definition, is not an important topic. We might dance around some important topics, but we never dive into them because that's not chatter anymore. Hey, Curtis, good to see you. And Ware, fantastic to see you in the house. Hey, eMusic, how you doing? I haven't seen you for a couple days. Good to see all y'all hanging out here today on, I think, is it Thursday? We're going to call it a Thursday. How about that? All right. So, hey, I did some fiddling and tweaking with some settings, etc. And, well, you never know what that's going to be on the live stream. So, if the music is too loud or not loud enough, let me know. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can adjust things because, like I said, they've been fiddled with, and I don't know. Once you start fiddling with settings, all hell can break loose sometimes. And yeah, speaking of all hell breaking loose, I left all of my tasty beverages out of arm's reach, so I might have to throw on a video so I can go grab them. Excellent. Well, hey, I wanted to, actually, I am going to throw on a quick little video, and because I'm kind of thirsty and I really would like a tasty beverage. So, hey, I'm going to throw down a drop that that my cat made for me. That's right. My cat, he made a drop. And if you guys would like to make a little public service announcement, hey, you're watching Chatter with Statter video, I would be happy to accept them. Remember, I don't do video editing. I mean, I can trim it down, maybe. But if you want to just throw together a little thing, it doesn't matter if you look good, it doesn't matter if you look bad, because you're not going to look any worse than the video I could put together for you. And yeah, so in the meantime, let me mute this music for a second. My name is Dusty, and I hang out with Mad Statter. You should check her out on Chatter with Statter. Meanwhile, I'ma hang out here and catch my daily pigeons live. Oh, darn it, I was almost in time. And then I muted my mic, and then I said, darn it, I was almost in time when my mic was muted. So that was not a seamless transition at all. All right, then. Now that you know the standards we're living up to, by all means, send yourself a drop to madstatter@gmail.com. Madstatter, all one word, at gmail.com. And yeah, I can throw that drop into the rotation, and you can look as good as my cat. How about that? Alrighty then. Yeah, exactly, Aware. Drop it like it's cat. Okay, so I wanted to exactly, I have to have the tasty beverage to be able to chat. Speaking of tasty beverages and all things that go in cups and saucers, etc., etc., I'm going to talk about a dishwasher for a little bit. To remind folks who might not have been here for the first few episodes of Chatter with Statter, it all started back in the day when my dishwasher suddenly had a hole in the hose. It's a portable dishwasher, and when I went to pull the hose out of the machine, I noticed that there was a broken end to it. It was like chewed off or something. Oops, wrong end. It was like chewed off or something. And so I had big plans to fix it. I've got a part on order because my original plan to just put the broken ends together didn't work because there was no broken ends per se. It was just a whole lot of a rat basically chewed through the hose for a while, like 2 feet worth, 18 inches worth. I'm not really sure how long, but more than a foot, and way bigger and longer than the repair hose that I had bought to replace it. So I ordered a repair part, and it's on back order still. I ordered it through Sears, and I had high hopes at the time, but I'm not so sure Sears is going to come through on this. It's continuing to be back ordered, but that doesn't matter because now I have a whole other issue. Yes, you see, oh yeah, Poppy Shani, the rat. Yeah, that's why I've saved this hose to make the point. I mean, it was a big deal, and so that's why it was just like, well, I can't fix this hose. I have to replace the entire part. It's just, it's come to that. Well, okay, great. I could get that part tomorrow if I wanted. I mean, actually, that's not true. I can't get that part tomorrow if I wanted, but let's just say I could get that part tomorrow if I wanted. Let's just say it wouldn't matter because even if I repaired my dishwasher, I wouldn't be able to use it because remember, my dishwasher is a portable dishwasher, and that means it drains into my kitchen sink. Guess what I have right now underneath my kitchen sink? For once, it's not a rat. For once, it's not a rat. But yeah, I've got a big old leak under my kitchen sink. So like everything I put in my sink ends up under my sink. So I have been hand washing my dishes in the kitchen sink. Do you see where I'm going with this? Yeah. Hey, Mariana, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a few days. Hey, Cindy Krause, I did not see you slip in. Yeah, maybe I need to feed my rats more. They hungry? Oh, honey, no, maybe I just need to kill all the rats in the house. But the rat, unfortunately, is not the problem with the leaky sink, at least. Oh, God, I hope the rat isn't the issue behind the leaky sink. Or I hope a rat isn't the issue. So I've called, I've called multiple, plumbers at this point, and I don't know what's going on. Nobody's calling me back. Like everybody's like, okay, a dispatcher will call you back. And it's been days. And like, I've got basically I've got my problem out to 3 different plumbing companies, and they're like, oh yeah, dispatcher will get back to you, and nobody's gotten back to me. And I was going to call this morning, but then it's just like, well, I have to do a stream, and if they show up at 4:00 in the afternoon, that's just not going to work. So I put it off today. But seriously, I mean, I knew that there was a fast food labor shortage. I was not aware that there was a plumber labor shortage, or something. I don't really know. Maybe people's houses have exploding plumbing and it's way higher of a priority than my little drippy leak. And if that's the case, I agree. Exploding plumbing is way higher priority than my drippy sink. But not having a kitchen sink is kind of a pain in the arse. I mean, I've been getting by, and on the bright side, I have kind of been using this as an excuse to just like, well, I can't wash my dishes, so I better go eat out tonight because otherwise I'll have pans and pots that I'll have to wash. So I have been eating out a little bit more, but that's not, I mean, first off, that's not cost effective. And really, I do like, I've grown accustomed to having a kitchen sink that I can use as like, a sink instead of just like this thing that collects dishes. Yeah. So, yeah, it is plumber time, Aware, but can you find me a plumber? I mean, I will happily invite every plumber in the world into my home to fix this if they want. But unfortunately, 3 different plumbing companies right now are just like, oh, yeah, we've got better things to do. Yeah, I know that's plumbing. I know we plumb, but whatever. So, yeah, that's the update on the dishwasher. Yes, the saga that never quits. Oh my, oh my. One day we will do a happy dance when when this all happens. And we might just do a happy dance when the kitchen sink gets fixed, because not having a kitchen sink made me realize just how much I really love being able to wash my dishes. Yeah, and I'm not surprised that if you live there, you'd come and look at it. And honestly, if I was willing to get on my back in a very uncomfortable position and in a gross hidey hole, I probably could figure it out myself. But I don't want to do any of those things. So I'm totally willing to pay to have someone do those things. Yeah. Poppy Shaney, are there any good handyman type people I know? Well, that's actually going to be the next step. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Hey, Deb, how you doing? Okay, so awesome. We've got 2 votes for the handyman. Deb's like, if the leak isn't too bad, maybe a handyman can fix it. No, I agree, because I know exactly where it is. It's at the conjunction between it's where 2 pipes connect. You can see, big shock there. That's where a leak is, where 2 pipes connect. Yeah, you can. It's obvious where the leak is. So that is actually going to be my next. I'm gonna give the plumbers one more, hey, what's going on here? I called you. And then I will be looking into the handyman service, because it's definitely not it's not a complicated plumbing job. Like Anne said, she could probably do it. I could probably figure out how to do it if I wanted to. I don't have the tools probably for the PVC pipe, etc. So that's a whole other hassle, and I don't want to have to buy tools for a job that I don't want to do anyway. But yeah, the handyman is going to be the next line of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I do Craigslist e-music, but I do know that there are a lot of local handyman. Like I see handyman vans all around, and if I jog my memory enough, I can like vaguely remember what the Well, I know that there's this one called Men in Kilts, and then there's this other one that's got a yellow van. I think it's like Dan the Handyman or something. Anyway, there's plenty local handyman groups or whatever. So, yeah, I'll be doing a Google search of some sort probably. Does Craigslist even exist anymore? I guess it does. Maybe I should check Craigslist. I didn't even think about that, actually. Craigslist used to be like the go-to, right? Oh shoot, I forgot to turn the music back on. All right, there we go. Yeah, Craigslist used to be the go-to, but I have since kind of forgotten about Craigslist. So, hey, Tanya, good. Go for the kilts. Yeah, okay, you know who I'm talking about, the Men in Kilts. Have you had good luck with Men in Kilts? First off, yeah, that would be the first handyman group that I would call anyway. But have you used them? Have you had good results? Yeah, and where Angie's List is a good source for seeing who's good, totally. Although at this point, the good ones are probably all taken. Haven't we all said that phrase before? And I'm just willing to like have it done by anybody who can flip and do it. You know what I'm saying? Right, Curtis, exactly. Plumbing, it's one thing, and I can see why, like, if you're a plumber apprentice or whatever, everybody's goal is to work in new construction, because it's like, well, plumbing new stuff that hasn't been used, that's fine. It's like, it's once the gross stuff starts building up and, it's like, oh, I don't want to go under a musty sink that's been, that's why I would hire someone to do it, because I don't want to plumb and, last flippin' resort, right? So let's see here. Yeah, so Tanya, do they actually come in kilts? I love their little vans, their little green tartan vans and stuff. They're so flickin' cute. I don't know if men in kilts is just a Seattle thing, or if they're a nationwide service. But yeah, they're in Seattle, that's for sure. Right, and so, okay, most plumbers aren't too keen on fixing my old house, so now you know how to restore sinks and tubs from the 1940s. Right, exactly. Once you get really old plumbing like that, I mean, my house isn't from the 40s, it's from the 50s, though. I think it was built in 1952, so it's not exactly a spring chicken of a house. The plumbing is definitely... Actually, the plumbing, I suppose, is... I don't even know if I want to talk about this. It's not the plumbing that I'm worried about. It's the electrical that I'm worried about. I'm still on knob and tube fuses. My house is grounded, literally. Like, there's a little note. The house is grounded through the water spout on the front porch, which disturbs me. Like, are you serious? You electrical grounded a house on the water pipe. And the person that I asked, like, well, yeah, that's how they did it. It's like, am I the only one who doesn't think that sounds like a good idea? I mean, I obviously don't know what I'm talking about, because that's how they do it. But really? That's how they do that? That's weird. So, speaking of plumbing and things that are weird, okay, so Tanya, yeah, their ads do show the employees doing handy jobs in kilts. So, but you know what, honestly, Tanya, if he had to go under my sink like that, I would totally be fine with a man in kilt who said, you know what, I'm gonna go put on some coveralls. I'd be like, you do that, babe. Don't even think to... Yeah, in fact, get all the clothes on and all the layers on you want when you're going under a sink or under a whatever. You don't need to do that in no kilt. I mean, it's cute, but you don't need to do that. Yeah. So, oh yeah, Mariana. Yeah, I did reach the 100 subs, so I got to customize my URL. That was such an exciting moment for me. And now I guess the next big subscription goal is 1,000, because that's when you get to monetize on YouTube. But 1,000 is so far away that it's just like, I don't know if I'm gonna have that goal anytime soon. So we'll just be happy with the 100, right? Right. Yes, there you go. Hey Terry, good to see you. All right, excellent. I love that you're lurking in the back a little bit. So, and like I said, my house was built in 1952. So, I don't know how old that is. What, 70 years old or something like that? Almost 70. So, 1952 is knob and tube. And I mean, plenty houses, not my whole neighborhood, but most of my neighborhood is of this era. So, the fuses aren't hard to find. The local hardware stores know, oh yeah, they bunches of old houses around here. We need to keep these in stock. This is, there's a lot of old in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And where they need to wear their kilts, otherwise it's false advertising if they didn't. That's funny. And you bring up a good point, because the whole thing is men in kilts. But you know what, my best guess is they're probably not. I mean, first off, there's probably some chicks in kilts too, right? I mean, even though it says men in kilts, I can only assume that the handyman service hires women who are qualified for the job. Let's see here. Curtis, to me, it's having to learn all the different connectors and find what you need. Grounding on the water pipe is OSHA approved, and you do work with an electrician. Yeah, see, exactly. To me, it seems like the strangest, scariest, dumbest, craziest idea, but apparently it's just for everybody who works in the field. It's like, no, it's all good. Don't worry about it. Okay, I won't then, because you know more than I do. Mm-hmm. Oh, Mariana, that's so funny that you love all our old houses up north. I really am fascinated by the houses down south. The cost of housing in the south versus the north is so hugely different that the what you get for your dollar, it's just fascinating. Southern homes are just so large and spacious and inexpensive. In Seattle area, Puget Sound area, things are just not quite as large, shall we say. So Mariana, yours is considered really old for here, and it's 1960s. Oh wow, you must live in like a very new neighborhood. Yeah, 1960s, I don't consider that to be very, very new or very old at all. Like, yeah, I would, wow. Yeah, I mean, like 1960s is, I think that's when, yeah, I don't know. 1960s, that is not old to me at all. You must have a lot of either remodeled houses or just living in a newly developed a city that's newly existent, I guess. And by newly existent, I mean like I suppose the last 60 years. So that's kind of an embarrassing admission that new is 60 to me. So, all right then, yeah. So, Poppy Shaney, right, I don't care what repair people wear as long as they know what they're doing and they do a good job. Well, exactly, Poppy Shaney, and really the only reason why I would care whether or not the guys were in kilts or not is when I think for safety reasons, you should probably not be in a kilt, dude. You need to like maybe be in some coveralls, maybe some steel-toed boots. I mean, I know in Hawaii, steel-toed rubber slippers are okay, but I don't live in Hawaii, so they better be steel-toed boot, right? I don't have a gas pipe. I don't have gas in my house, Curtis. So no worries about grounding that. And really, Cindy Krause, your house was built in 1991 and it's grounded on the water faucet? Well, I was always under the impression that was a habit from a long, long time ago. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about at all, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. Yeah, so yeah, Terry Gilmore, and Hawaii houses are manini and pricey. Right, exactly. Well, oh my God, dude, the other day in the mail, I got an offer from, because like, right now the real estate market in Seattle is just stupid. And so whenever the real estate market gets stupid, you get a ton of people who want to buy, remodel, and flip the home, right? Well, my house is a really tiny house, and I'm not sure. I don't know if it's because there's a lack of one-bedroom homes on the market, or if it's because my house would be my property is quite large for the size of the home, and I don't know if like they plan on expanding, tearing down. I don't really know what their plans are, but I have for the last year had almost every day I get a text or a phone call from some random person wanting to buy my house. And I always am just like, well, yeah, if you give me $600,000, I'll move out. And they get all pissed off at me. They're like, you don't sound very serious. And I was like, you guys are the ones asking me to move out of my house. I just named my price. I'm sorry if you don't flipping like it. Get out of my phone if you don't like it. Come on, right? So, yeah, so my 500 square foot house, for someone who wants to flip it, I got a cash offer in the mail yesterday for $320,000. 500 square feet for $320,000. And they plan on doing something to make it worth more expensive so they can make more money off of it. That's the dumbest thing I've heard in my life. Who on earth has the kind of money to spend on 500 square feet, for $320,000. That's just dumb. That was just stupid. I can't even, but that's where Seattle's at right now. So, yeah, there you go. Talk about tiny and pricey. That's tiny and pricey is where I live. Not when I bought into it. Let me tell you that. So, right, Terry Gilmer, you had increase in offers from realtors up to a year after you sold your Tacoma condo. I'm not surprised. Yeah, I mean, housing is a premium right now. You know, the housing market in the Puget Sound area has not kept up with the amount of job creation. So there literally aren't enough homes for everyone, literally, even if they're willing to pay for them, pay good money for them. There's just, the market is so tight. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, generally people are putting their house on the market, and it's not uncommon to get an offer for 30% more the same day that you put it on the market. That's how stupid the market is right now in Seattle. It's just ridiculous. So Curtis, your house started as a Cape Cod style in 1919. Right. So your house is probably like that, that car that Johnny Cash put together, the 4959, no, what is it? The 4555 or whatever, the Cadillac that was, years of, 56, 57, 58, 59 automobile. That was, your different parts of your house are different ages. But by the way, though, Curtis, what is a Cape Cod? I hear that all the time, but I don't know enough about housing architecture. What is a Cape Cod style house? I mean, I know that it's a style of house. I'm even going to venture to guess it started out on Cape Cod, that style of house. But I don't know, like, is it a 1-story? Is it 2-story? Is it like a Victorian where it's all skinny? Is it like a cracker box house where it's just like a cracker box shaped house? Like, what's up with the Cape Cod style? Yeah. Sass, we should ground my ground into the ground. That's the whole plan with grounding. Grounding that grounding. And Curtis, that's exactly it. A kilt could be a problem for a plumber. That's why I fully am accepting if the plumber or the handyman doing, the kilted handyman doing the plumbing job, if he wants to switch into something else, I am 100% okay with it. In fact, I might prefer he switches. Like, I don't need to see you in your kilt doing that. That's just not attractive for anybody. So, Curtis, they ground to the water pipe because it's buried underground and will spread the electric load out in case of a failure. Yeah, I know that, yeah, and the deeper the better or whatever, it needs to be a certain amount of deep. I mean, I get the concept. It's just, I mean, it's the water factor that's like, I mean, and I know it's not, I don't know, it just seems weird. All right, then. It's just how I am. Okay, so a Cape Cod is 4 sides on the roof coming up to a flat square on the top. Interesting. And so, okay, so now I guess my next question is, Terry, that your comment just made me laugh. Apparently a crack house can be any architectural style. That is correct. Okay, but so your Cape Cod style with the 4 sides of the roof and the square on top, that square piece on top, is that like a porch or a deck or like a lookout? Or is it just a place for snow to gather? Like, what is a lot of times architecture has a reason for it. So I'm just like, that seems like a very strange thing. Like, why would they do that? So, even though you have no reason to know this, I'm wondering, do you know why is your house built like that? I guess is what I'm asking, even though that's not really what I meant to ask. So let's see here. E-Music, what's of high value is not the square footage of my house, but the size of the lot. By building upwards on your lot, there'd be multiple units. Yeah, no, you're exactly right, E-Music. That is precisely right. When I get the tax assessed value statement every year from the county, the house isn't worth nothing. It's the land that I'm paying the taxes on that's worth everything. And I have, if I had big dreams, I would do that, because you're allowed in my neighborhood or in my town to have what's called a single accessory dwelling unit, an ADU, and an ADU can be up to 800 square feet. Well, my house is only 500 square feet. So I was thinking, and my lot is big enough for 2 houses. So I was thinking, if I declared my original home as the accessory dwelling unit, and then on the back of the property built a bigger real home, this value would be incredible. However, I don't have the money to do that. So right now it's just a pipe dream, but I definitely have considered that. And that was actually part of the reason why I throw out like such a stupid, ridiculous. I mean, I know that my lot isn't worth $600,000. I know that it's not, but I also know that if you tore down my house, or if you built another house or whatever, you could get 600,000 out of this lot easy. In fact, you could probably get way more than that. And so, if you're gonna, tear down my single family unit and build a huge McMansion or something and get big bucks for it, well, then I want in on that. And besides that, you're asking me to move. So give me $600,000 and we'll call it even. And until I get $600,000, well, I guess I'm not moving. They don't like it when I pull out an attitude like that. But to me, it's just like, I did not ask you to call me on my phone and ask me to move out of my house. And now I'm telling you what it'll take for me to move out of my house, and you're getting angry at me? I think we've got some mixed signals here, my friend. All right then. Hey, Medium 7-Up, good to see you. I'm guessing you are probably done with your work for the day, all of your adorable children students. I don't know if I would agree with those things, but I'm so glad that you think that, because you're the teacher and not me. So, right now we're talking about stupid things like stupid prices of housings. All of the stupid houses that cost stupid monies. Yeah, and where exactly some houses have a separate grounding rod that goes super deep. That's what I assumed was the new norm. And I kind of assumed that the new norm of the grounding rod that goes deep was newer than 1991, like Cindy Krause's house has with the faucet. That just seems like a little new to me. So, yeah. So Curtis, just a flat roof often fails. Right, totally, because of the snow, especially. Yeah, you want the peaks. That's what. Well, right, Curtis, because I mean that's why the houses in Switzerland, all those Swiss chalets have that steep incline, so it helps the snow encourage the snow to fall thanks to gravity. So, yeah, I would think in Iowa, who would have thought of flatness on the top of any structure in Iowa was a good idea? That's not, just like in Seattle, it's not a good idea because of it's not as much of a risk necessarily due to the weight of the snow, but it's not good for water drainage. And so you end up with a rotten roof, and leaking in because of all the rain. It's just flat roofs are not a good thing. I mean, you can have them like look flat, but they better have like the slightest angle, at least in Washington, so the water can roll off. Yeah, Kenny, exactly. And by the way, Kenny, good to see you pop in. That's what I would think. If you're going to have a square rooftop, like why not convert the square rooftop into a deck space obviously with a rail around it? I mean, I guess obvious to me and you, somebody else might not find that so obvious. But yeah, to me, that seems like the perfect, and I was wondering like if on Cape Cod, that was like the square on top of the roof was like for, the fisherwoman to keep an eye out for her husband coming in at sea or something stupid and romantic like that. I don't know. Oh, okay, so here we go. I don't know what I'm talking about. And okay, Poppy Shaney, super glad that I'm justified in my anger about the realtors calling me. And, okay, so eMusic, apparently, as it turns out, I'm kind of right, and I vaguely know what I'm talking about. So the top of the Cape Cod style has a place for telescope to watch for fishing boats and ships coming into the bay. That's okay. See, that was, I knew there had to be a logic for why a building was built with the square roof on top, because it really doesn't, architecturally speaking, it doesn't seem like a good plan. But if there's a reason for it, and it sounds like I guessed the reason, so there you go. Hey, Robert, good to see you. Yeah, finally caught the live stream. Another Seattle folk in the house. Good to see you there. So let's see here. So, okay, Curtis. So now you're telling me that you've driven the 8-foot copper rods to ground houses, but it just depends on the local building codes. Okay. And SAS, these rules are all local. Red states and counties are more likely to have lax building codes. Okay. All right, Terry, good luck at Costco. Try to walk out with more money in your pocket than you think you would after you visit Costco. I don't shop at Costco. And part of the reason why I don't shop at Costco is because the money flies out of my pocket. I mean, did I need that 24 pack of washcloths and all of those socks and the jumbo package of spring rolls that literally are, the package is so big it fills the entire freezer? Well, yeah, I did. I needed those egg rolls. I'll put the socks back before I put the egg rolls back. So let's see here. It's called a widow's walk. Oh, okay. I feel like I've heard the term widow's walk on Bob's Burgers before, but I wasn't sure if I was making that up, and I wasn't sure if that applied to the kind of roof we're talking about. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, Poppy Shaney, it's so weird. So Davis, California had to get a permit from the city to install a ceiling fan. The city that borders on Burien, SeaTac is crazy. If you were a business and you want to paint your business building a different color, you have to get a permit from the city. And the city has to approve the color that you're going to paint your business. I just couldn't believe that. So let's see here. So, okay, the houses in Iowa were built by the craftsmen who moved west from the coast, and it could be made into a widow's watch. Okay, all right, right. I suppose there's really no reason for the widow's watch in Iowa. Watching for the ships coming into the cornfields. I'm gonna guess that not many ships sail into the cornfields. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. I could be wrong. I don't live in Iowa, but my gut tells me not a lot of boats are sailing into the cornfields. Right, yeah, exactly, Kenny Casey. It is possible to have a rooftop deck with enough, fall to it to promote the drainage. But you better make sure you do that. So, and you still think you did need that gallon of hot sauce. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's hysterical. So, speaking of Cape Cod, speaking of the water, speaking of, I've got this thing here. Here, let's do what I'm going to do. Oh, yeah. All right. I know what I'm going to do. So we're talking about water, and we're talking about stuff. Well, we're talking about what you could do on a widow's watch, and you could look in a telescope and find the ships sailing out to sea, or if you are in the Puget Sound area, you can take these pictures of the orcas just off of your porch, apparently, and E-Music, maybe SeaTac is concerned that certain colors would confuse the pilots who are landing in bad weather. Yeah, maybe. I don't think so. I just think that they're really heavy-handed. But hard to say. So, yeah, so these whales, there's a reason why I'm showing you these orcas. And I wish that Andre were here so I could say to him, "Oh, Andre, I think you might have been onto something." And I was such a fool. I was such a fool not to listen to Andre. So Andre was all insistent, like, yeah, dude, you need to like be afraid of the orcas because you're stupid if you're not. I mean, this isn't exactly what he was saying, but this is what he was saying, right? And I was saying back to him, dude, no, you don't need to be afraid of the orcas in the Puget Sound. No, dude, the Puget Sound orcas, they're super chill. See, they're the resident orcas. It's the transient orcas you need to worry about. And the transients, man, they never come to Puget Sound. That's what I told him. Guess what you're looking at? You are looking at a transient orca in the Puget Sound. Yeah, that was just taken, let's see here, 4 days ago, these pictures. And yeah, I think it's all the same whale breaching a bunch of different times. But yeah, it is indeed a transient. And while it was spotted much further north in the Puget Sound, closer to what I would consider a Strait of Juan de Fuca, which I know that the transients have been seen in the Strait of Juan de Fuca, but this is like really, this is technically Puget Sound, and so it's super cool without a doubt, but yeah, so to give some context on why I was so wrong and Andre, he might have been so right. Here is a map of the area. It is basically the Olympic Peninsula, and on the northern part, that northern blue streak, that is the Strait of Juan de Fuca, although local tribes from Oregon up through Vancouver, British Columbia, call it the Salish Sea. So and it is a term that is being used more often now to recognize the continuing ecosystem between Canada and the United States that goes through the Puget Sound area and the Queen Charlotte Islands up the coast of British Columbia. It is all one unit, despite the fact that it is dissected by an international border. So the Salish Sea is the sort of the top blue streak. The other light blue streak on the left-hand side of your screen, that's the Pacific Ocean. Now, you might notice a little yellow star on the right-hand side of your screen, kind of near the top. That yellow star is where the orcas were. That is where the pictures of the transient orcas were taken, right there at that yellow star. And then further down the south, you'll see a second yellow star. And that yellow star, that's where I live, and that's where I go kayaking. And right underneath that little yellow star, you might even, if your screen's big enough, you might even see a tiny little point of land that goes out into the water. And I've taken you there before. That's 3 Tree Point. We've been on a holo down that way. But the point of this picture is the distance between the yellow stars is not far in whale terms. So I'm thinking if the big transient scary buggas were all up there, well, I guess Andre was right. I should be scared of the orcas that I see in my Puget Sound area because because. So so these are the kind of orcas that will eat seals. These are the type of orcas that will actually kill and eat a great white shark. As I was saying to Andre, those are the only ones you need to be afraid of, and they're not around here. Well, those are the only ones you need to be afraid of, but yeah, they around here apparently. So what do you know? Yeah, I know. I thought that the Carl's Jr. star was kind of cute, but it was either that or I couldn't find anything that seemed appropriate, and it was the star was the closest thing. It was either that or little kissy lips, but I didn't want to do kissy lips. So I was hoping like for a raindrop, or I was hoping actually for a different colored star. I was hoping for something red, hence the kissy lips because they were red. But the sticker collection that I had in my photo editor didn't have anything like that I could find. So, yeah, it's Salish. It's not leash, it's lish, Lish. So it's like it's pronounced Saylish. That's not how it's spelt. It's spelt Salish. But Salish is actually how you say it. I always mess it up, but I looked it up before I made this stream, so I actually had vague confidence, and so I wouldn't mess it up, which is why I messed it up. But yeah, it's Salish. The interwebs told me so. Mm-hmm. So, let's see here. So, and where you have friends in rainy Seattle who have a flat-roofed modern house. I think they have water problems, but I don't know. No, seriously, dude, I'm not surprised you have friends in Seattle with a flat-roofed house. I am stunned by the amount of flat-roofed houses in the area. In fact, there's a couple of them in my neighborhood right now. And I just think to myself, well, what were you thinking? Is all I can think when I see houses like that in this area. What were you thinking? It was, when I was looking for a house, that was one of the things my real estate agent was just like, hell no, you don't want a house with a flat roof. So yeah, it's not a secret. Flat roofed houses in the Puget Sound area, not a good plan. Not even. All right. Well, let's see here. Yeah. Well, and if they're not, and if they're not expensive to maintain, then they're expensive to fix because you didn't maintain them, without a doubt. Because really, I feel like if I had a flat roof, first off, basically the roof that when it's flat in our area, or any flat roofed house anywhere near trees, like suddenly the whole roof is one big gutter, that you have to clean off. Because the last thing you want on your roof is a pile of wet, rotting debris. Right? And then that gets heavy, so you need to clean that off multiple times a year. And then, I don't know if I like where this mic is. And then, every year you'd probably want to inspect it to make sure and seal places that might have leakies. I would be too paranoid. I would be way too paranoid. Hey, Tom, good to see you coming in to Chatter with Statter this afternoon. Thank you so much for swinging by. Right now, we're talking about houses with flat roofs, and we're also talking about transient orcas that I insisted did not exist in the Puget Sound. And as it turns out, I have photographic proof to prove that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm really wrong because they really do exist in the Puget Sound. I have photographic proof that I am wrong. Oh, yeah. Right, yeah, exactly. You have that problem on the screen porch on the back of the house here. And it's down on the list of things to fix, though. Right, yeah, because it's not, it's a screen porch and whatever. But right, yeah, that area where it connects to your house, that probably gathers stuff. And then that stuff helps to exacerbate any kind of rot or leak or whatever. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So your house, Tom, has a flat roof over the garage. It's like a massive balcony. Right. Yeah. What started this conversation was apparently Cape Cod style houses have a 4-sided slanty roof that is topped with a flat section. And I wondered, does anybody use that as a balcony? And we have gone on from there. So, yeah, if you've got the space, why not have a balcony? I guess, why not? Well, if you're in the middle of the hot sun and it's blazing down on you and that's an uncomfortable place to hang out, I suppose that's a good reason why not. But outside of that reason, why not, right? Right. That's what I think. Oh, Deb, let's see here. I make up stories about my 70-year-old house. It is smaller. My made-up story is that people originally built and lived here and worked on Tacoma tide flats during the lumber boom. Wait, what? So your made up story is that people that originally lived here, worked on the Tacoma. Well, that sounds like a very realistic, a very realistic story. I would believe you. So Kenny Casey, do the local orcas generally speaking clash with the transient orcas much? Like, are there locals territorial? Honestly, Kenny, at this point, I can't even act like I know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I was always under the impression the transients didn't come this far south, or didn't come this deep into the sound. So, I mean, I've never heard of it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. But you know, I don't really know. I would imagine they just sort of know to stick to their own, you know, I mean, because they don't share the same food source. So, I mean, I guess if they both are like, because okay, when I just said they don't share the same food source, that's kind of a lie, because I think all of the orcas do enjoy a salmon now and again. So, I mean, I guess if, you know, you've got two different pods posted up in the same mouth of the same salmon glut river, there might be problems, maybe. I don't know. That's curious, though. I might have to look that up. I mean, I don't think so, but I don't know. Let's see here. And where it needs a totally new your porch needs a totally new membrane kind of roofing. This old style one is tarry, but you can't stand it on hot days. You can't walk out on the deck roof. Yeah. Oh gosh, no. No, not even. Right. Especially if it's that tarry stuff. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Deb, well, yeah, exactly. The transients basically do just keep moving, but they also, but they're generally in deeper, wider water than the Puget Sound. So, but I do know that the salmon are running right now. So I guess it stands to reason that they would be, if there's any time of the year that they're going to be closer to land and mouths of rivers, now is exactly when they would be. I mean, now that I think about it, because the salmon are totally running. You know, anytime you go down to the beach, there's people with their lines casting. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but yeah, I just never, I never had any idea that the transients came this far in. And I was very adamant about that last week, a week and a half ago, whenever it was we talked about it last time. And so today, or yesterday, when I saw those pictures, I was like, oh, I was so wrong. I better tell people how wrong I was. I better straighten the story up, because this isn't the first time I've been wrong on Chatter with Statter. You know. Oh, Kenny. Oh, okay. So when you guys talk about the membrane underlay, are you talking about like Tyvek? Because it seems like Tyvek is wrapping every house, every square footage of every new house that's being constructed. And it's like there's different colors, which I assume mean different things. Yeah. Medium 7-Up. No quote me. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I need to quote Andy on that, because I use that phrase a lot for sure. Medium 7-Up, you have a mattress after like 10 years sleeping on a futon. Yeah, I had a mattress for almost 20 years. And in parts of it, it was so worn that like the springs were popping out. So every once in a while I'd roll over and a sharp piece of metal would jab my butt. I'm so glad I got a new mattress. I really encourage you to get a new mattress, my friend. It's like a whole other thing. Sass, I find it remarkably ironic that you pipe in with the roof liner is similar to the toughest rough water raft material. Okay, so that would be material that was not that didn't make up the raft that got punctured that we were on in the river a while ago. Yeah, let's hope it's better than that material. Okay, where Tyvek is an exterior wall vapor barrier for underneath siding. I don't think it's used on roofs. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is Tyvek wraps every single building that seems to be built in this area. And I've noticed that like different parts of the houses are wrapped in different colors of it. And I've kind of wondered what that was all about. I don't know if it was just like, well, we were out of white, so we just got the yellow. Or if it's like, well, the yellow is actually double duty because it's facing south and the blah, 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 or something. You know, something. Okay, so let's see here. I think I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the rainforest. This is going to be just a little quick holo. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is just a little holo. We're going to go see a big cedar tree. Actually, we're not going to go see the big cedar tree because it would require hiking down a trail, and my gimbal still has not figured out how to talk to my cell phone. So I'm not using my gimbal yet. I would love to use the gimbal, but my cell phones and the gimbal are not on speaking terms at the moment. So I cannot. So this was just a little trek down the road in the rainforest to go see the big cedar tree. And I don't know. I think it's kind of pretty. So let's see here. Kenny tells me that Tyvek has their fingers in all types of moisture barriers. Color, I think, relates to the membrane's R value or membrane thickness or both. Maybe, no quote me. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's sort of the assumption. I don't know what the R value is, but sure, that sounds good. And Curtis, I plan on my next career move is to become a spokesperson for Prell, Burger King, and Tyvek. I figure Tyvek is probably going to be the one who like hops on me first because I don't refer to their product as a moist gray sponge and I don't threaten people with it. I just call it like things and stuff. And I sound like a stupid girl when I talk about it. But, you know, stupid girls sometimes sell things, right? Right. Exactly, Curtis. I will be a triple threat. Precisely. My resume will be full of top-notch corporations that just are clamoring to work with me. I mean, Burger King alone. I can't imagine. I don't know why the dollars haven't rolled in from my endorsement for their moist gray sponge burger. I mean, it's not like their moist gray sponge burger isn't their flagship product or anything. Yes, and that is true. The Old McKenna Road was playing in the background, and it is a great song by Lono, and I'm so thankful that Lono has donated his music to this stream and so many other streams that we all enjoy. If you enjoy Lono's music, check out his page on YouTube for plenty of performances of his songs, some cover songs, some very traditional songs. If you search Lono music on YouTube, it will take you directly to his page. His user or his URL on YouTube is Kaupe'epe'e, but since most Hali folk will not be able to spell that to save their lives, the easiest way to find Lono on YouTube is by YouTube searching Lono music, and yeah, you'll be able to hear all sorts of cool stuff. And if you are interested in buying his records, you can do so at lonomusic.com. Oh, hey, Lono. Good to see you. Yeah, you're lurking in the background, always king of the K crew. Yeah, so music is life down here, chatting away. If you want to support this musician who is so generous with so many YouTubers and Twitch streamers, go to lonomusic.com and find one of his many albums for sale. Take your pick on which one you want and download. Give him some money and he'll let you download it. There you go. So that was the little Big Cedar side trek. Now we're just on Highway 101, going south along the coast. All right, cool, Lono. You can stay K, and Ware has stepped in for the Lonobrarian duties that I normally take on for all the other streams. We have Lono playing in the background. Current song, of course, is Flowers Will Lay, and you can find this song on Maui Stylin'. And as I've mentioned before, Maui Stylin', one of my favorite Lono albums. Terry, exactly. My cell phone is territorial and threatened by the transient gimbal. That is precisely it. They're just not, their Bluetooth, man, they're just not on the same wavelength. Their Bluetooths are not connecting. It's just an unhappy situation. Okay, so Kenny, excellent. He's thrown down the knowledge. R value is the product's insulation factor. The bigger the number in the R value, the better it insulates. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I had a feeling it had something to do with that. So yeah, all right, yeah. Then the different color Tyveks completely makes sense. And I guess actually, even though I didn't know what I was talking about, I suppose it makes sense that they might put a different insulation rater, the insulation vapor barrier rating on a southern exposure than a not southern exposure. But, you know, I'm totally just making that up because I really don't know. Yeah, so that is what we're learning about today. All sorts of Tyvek stuffuses and things. And then, of course, roof issues and how tar paper and those tarry roofs are just unacceptable. Never know where the chatter's going to scatter here at Statter's house. We haven't really talked about many creepy critters, so that's good. I think the orcas were the creepiest critters we talked about earlier, so there you go. Yep, so this is the coastal highway for the rainforest, and as you can see, it was like raining and stuff. So, oops. Yeah, I know, exactly. House renovation topics, so thrilling. I could go on and on about siding, etc. No, seriously. Honestly, and it's funny you should say that. I realized I was a true adult, like a real life grown-up, when I was having a conversation with a couple other real life grown-ups, and I believe we were talking about washing machines or some sort of major household appliance purchase. And it was a conversation that like went on for hours, you know, and it was just like, you know, there is no way any child, you know, I mean, it's not even like it's a dangerous topic. I mean, like you could have the kids could have stayed in the room for the entire flippin' conversation. There was nothing that was not safe for children's ears, but it was the most adult conversation I think I'd ever had in my life. Yeah, so horribly boring for a child, I'm sure. So let's see here, Kenny. By code in Bell County, where you used to work, and Cornell County, where you live, when you wrap a house, you got to use the same R value all the way around. Oh, interesting. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about, Kenny, but I can tell you that I don't think that's the case in Seattle, just because I've seen the different colors on the different sides. So, I mean, like, in fact, that was kind of what caught my eye, was like, oh, there's different colors, because they're different, like, what? So, but like I said, I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious at this point that I don't know what I'm talking about. But I can tell you that I've seen both the yellow kind of Tyvek and the white kind of Tyvek on the same structure. I can tell you that. What the yellow means, what the white means, I cannot tell you that at all. And when you bought your first washer and dryer, you sat in the basement and watched it through the first load. Adult milestones. I love that so much. That's so awesome. Oh, that is so cute. Oh, well, Kenny, we were asking about R value, so you were allowed to babble on about the R value. It's all good. So, I have no doubt in my mind that, Anne, you want to see the pics in the video you recorded of your first load? No, but that's hysterical. Do you carry pictures of your washer and dryer in your wallet so you can show people? Look at them, the twins. They're the twins. There you go. So this is, as I know that Sass knows where we're at, but this is a campground called Kalaloch, and it is on the coast of the Olympic Peninsula. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone camping in this particular area. And my favorite camp spot we just passed, F6, was the favorite campsite. And, well, it was already taken. Otherwise, I was going to pull in and give you a shot of how awesome the F6 view is of the ocean. But, yeah, this is Kalaloch Campground, F Loop. And during the summer, this campground is packed to the gills. You need a reservation, usually months in advance, in order to even get a spot, which is very frustrating because back in my day, I remember you used to just be able to, like, nobody was at the campground and you could just randomly, go one Saturday in the middle of August and find a spot. But now the only time you can do that is in the middle of winter, which is what Sass and I have done on multiple times, actually. We and a bunch of friends will go camping over Christmas or New Year's in this particular campground, and basically we're the only idiots in tents. Everybody who might be there is all in their RVs, and so we basically have the run of the campground because it's cold and it's dark. Everybody's inside. So they're RVs. So we're outside, running around, taking over all the camping spaces that are empty and doing whatever. And this little section of the campground is also a super fun section to camp in. If you've got a big group, there's 3 of the things together it makes for a nice little group camping site, so to speak. And as you can see, this is what the glorious ocean on the Kalaloch beach looks like. Unfortunately, I was unable to go down to the beach for 2 reasons. First off, it was raining and I had no rain gear, and I was only wearing cotton. And I think you all know cotton in the rain is a really bad idea. But the real reason why I couldn't go down is because my ankle, the ankle that has a bunch of metal in it, the weather change between the sunny day before and this Hawaiian day, this rainy day made my ankle it was in so much pain I could barely walk. And so the idea of climbing up and down the what are they called? The driftwood and the rocks to get down to the beach was just like not even on the agenda. My ankle was just throbbing. So, right. And where cotton kills when hiking or camping. Absolutely. It does. It does nothing but absorb water and then make you cold. So I can't, and you don't even know how angry I was at myself. Like, I have rain gear. I have fleece. As I said earlier in this particular video, I've gone camping here when there's snow on the ground. I know better. How and why I went to the rainforest thinking it was going to be a beautiful summer day with no consequences or water protection. It was almost a waste of time, actually, in retrospect. It makes me so angry, but, oh well. I got some footage. It's not the worst footage in the world. Chalk it up to a flippin' learning experience about, prepping way better. But yeah, I really blew this one. So yeah, rainy view of the beach. I believe this used to be a beach trail that got washed away, which is why they have the split rail fence there. Yes, sirree. Kenny Casey, when you bought your first washer and dryer, your dad hugged you like you had just completed some rite of passage or something. Well, you kind of did, dude. I mean, it's a washer and dryer combos, or not, the set. That's two major house appliances. I mean, even at the cheapest, it's a couple $100, but really more realistically, it's almost a couple $1,000 these days. Come on, it's a big deal. I think it's worth a hug. Tom Greek, when you meet a woman, you ask her how big her washer and dryer is. That's an interesting question. That's a very odd opening line. I would be very intrigued by that question, actually. My washer and dryer is very small, mostly because a lot of reasons that I actually don't feel like getting into, but full size units are not able to get into my full-size units are not able to get into my bathroom without removing the bathroom sink vanity or carrying the unit over the sink. And I think we all know that delivery guys are like, hell no, I'm not carrying a washer over a sink. So I have to get ones that are very narrow. Otherwise, the full-size ones don't fit. It sort of sucks. Yes, so... Well, Tom Greek, you want to know what her credit score is? That, it's kind of valid, I guess. I mean, it depends on how serious you are with that person. But, some people live without credit. I mean, some of my best friends have lived their entire lives without a bank. They're cash only. And, I don't know, dude. Sometimes that's a better way than doing the credit. Of course, I say this as someone who has like virtually no flipping credit at all. So, there might be that, but that's a different story entirely. So yeah, and then this is, I forgot I did this. Yeah, so I guess we're just going through the whole Kalaloch campground. What do you know? I forgot that I did this. So this is on the other side, and this is the bigger part of the campground. And I haven't really actually camped very often on this side of the campground. It's a lot darker. It's a lot woodsier. It's not as near to the beach, and I am on the other side that's closer to the beach. But as you can see, even though it's this campground is, this part of the campground was basically fully full. And even though it was fully full, there's, some privacy bushes between the sites. So it's kind of a nice little, I really like the campground. So, so there you go. Little holo through a national park campground. And I really like this shot, even though there's a lot of reflection, unfortunately, on my dash. But the greenery is just so, it's just so green. I just really love that little shot right there that we were going through. Deb, it's Kalaloch, and let me spell that for you because it's not how you think. You say it like clay lock, Claylock, Kalaloch. That's not how you spell it. You spell it K-A-L. Hold on. K-A-L-A-L-O-C-H. Kalaloch. 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 Yes, that is how you spell it. I know, right, dude? Seriously, Terry, Terry, I deserve that itch slap, 100%. Here's what happened. See, in my defense, Okay, so I used to have a Subaru, and my 96 Subaru in the back was basically packed with anything and everything I could possibly need. Do you need a rain poncho? I've got one. Do I need a rain poncho? Well, that's great, because I've got another one for me. Do you need, a shake up flashlight, emergency water, all, spare change of clothes, I had everything in the back of my old Subaru. But having everything in the back of your old Subaru, I mean, kind of looks like crap. It just, so when I got my new Subaru, new being defined as, 2004, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pare my stuff down. So I pared a lot of stuff down, and basically now I've just got real emergency kind of stuff in the back. So no extra change of clothes, no rain poncho, and it's like, man, I really needed my old Subaru back. You have every reason to itch slap me, Terry, every single reason, but I was a disappointment even to myself. Mm-hmm. So, Kenny Casey, lately when you meet a lady, all you want to know is if her meatloaf recipe is on point. That's a good question. And actually, what? Are we talking about food again on Chatter with Statter? So, hey, Kenny, when you determine if a meatloaf recipe is on point, what is the sauce that you prefer with your meatloaf? Do you prefer a brown sauce? Do you prefer an Italian style red sauce? Or do you prefer like a ketchup or maybe a barbecue sauce? Like, what is your sauce? I'm a ketchup girl myself. I got into a fight with an Italian friend of mine he was just like, no, it's, tomato sauce with the thyme and the basil and the blubber and the garlic. And it's just like, no, you don't put spaghetti sauce on top of flippin' meatloaf. And he's like, it's not spaghetti sauce, it's red sauce. And it's like, shut up, you Italian. Everything tastes the same when you cook it. It's all the same stuff. So I was like, put some ketchup on your meatloaf, man. He didn't like that. But yeah, so people out there, meatloaf, what do you like on it? Brown sauce, red sauce, ketchup sauce, barbecue sauce. Don't even come at me with barbecue sauce. I'll tell you right now. Nuh-uh. Nope. No. Yeah, there you go. Terry Gilmore, pardon your rough language, but you're chewing on a Costco hot dog and all huffy now. Oh, I had a 7-Eleven hot dog for lunch earlier today. Today's a hot dog kind of day. I approve. And I 1000% approve of your itch slap language because I deserved an itch slap. I did. See, Deb, you know what's up. It's all about the ketchup on the meatloaf, without a doubt. That's the way I roll as well. And that's right, deal-breaking food choices, dude. Seriously, when you put red sauce on everything, after a while, everything starts to taste the same. And I'll tell you what, Italians might be good cooks, but they're not inventive cooks. Everything tastes like red sauce. HP sauce. I don't know what HP sauce is. Is that like brown sauce or like A1 or something like that? I mean, you can put it on, but I'm talking like to cook the meatloaf in. I don't even know what HP sauce is. Is that brown sauce? I feel like that might be brown sauce. And when I say brown sauce, I mean a gravy, not oh boy, have I just opened a can of worms. So when I said brown sauce, I didn't mean the English condiment brown sauce. I meant gravy, like a brown gravy. That being said, do people put the English brown sauce condiment on their meatloaf? I mean, it kind of makes sense. I put ketchup on mine, so I suppose, which is a condiment, and I cook it with the condiment on it. So, now I have a lot of questions about the HP sauce. Cindy Krause, ketchup with bacon. I don't usually use bacon on my meatloaf, but I am never opposed to bacon. So I 100% am way okay with your version of meatloaf. Curtis, you've never eaten meatloaf? And Curtis, you live in the Midwest, I thought, right? I mean, like, how have you not had a meatloaf? I know you've had to have had a hot dish. I mean, I know that hot dish and meatloaf are not the same thing at all, but like, really, you've never had a meatloaf. Wow. That's It's kind of awesome, actually. Tom Greek, you had hot dogs yesterday, and today you're eating pasta. Good for you. So Kenny Casey, brown sauce like your mom made, ketchup base, red sauce like my sister makes. Okay, all right, cool. So yeah, so we're not talking about okay, Kenny, I approve of your meatloaf choices. I mean, I know that's like not, who cares? You didn't ask for my approval, but I'm giving you my approval anyway. Yeah, the HP is it occurred to me, right, and where HP is a brand of brown colored condiment sauce, and actually in England it's called brown sauce. And it occurred to me once I had said brown sauce meaning gravy, it was very logical for people to assume I meant the condiment. Yeah. And Tom Greek, I've never heard of Dijon mustard coating the meatloaf the way like you would with a ketchup, but Dijon mustard in a meatloaf actually might be kind of tasty. I've never tried that, but I think that could add a little bit of a pop that might be tasty. Yeah, Kenny Casey, no, it's not Hewlett Packard, although it's some British, some Canadian or British company that we don't get the sauce very often here, or if we do get it here, you have to like look for it. I think the closest thing we have here to brown sauce in our refrigerator doors, I can't remember, was it Heinz 57 steak sauce or was it the A1 steak sauce? There's one of the steak sauces that one of my British friends was like, it's as close to brown sauce as you're gonna get in the States. Hey, Elaine, good to see you popping in. We are here talking about a lot of random stuff, actually. Real estate markets, roof designs. Right now, we're talking about how you like to eat your meatloaf. Yeah, so I don't know if you're the type of person who makes meatloaf or not. We have one person, Curtis, who's never eaten a meatloaf, so you might be on that crew. Or if you make and eat meatloaf, you might prefer the ketchup glaze on top. Or, as this friend of mine from who's Italian liked it, he liked to pour spaghetti red sauce on top of his meatloaf when he cooked it. Weirdo. But, you know, he's not the only weirdo. And then, let's see. And then there's gravy people. And then, of course, there's people who like brown sauce, the condiment, not brown sauce, the gravy. So there you go. Now, okay, so Kenny, I'm very curious. When you say it's your mom's brown sauce, do you mean like a gravy, or like do you mean like the condiment brown sauce? Because like I said, I just opened a can of worms by using the wrong term, the term that I didn't really mean. So yeah, Kenny, tell me about your mom's brown sauce and like what that's all about. And then Elaine, your daughter makes it with ketchup on it. I 100% approve. It is ketchup is the meatloaf topping of choice in my world. I really, honestly, I guess it's because I don't like barbecue sauce very much, but the people who put barbecue sauce on meatloaf kind of annoy me. Like they kind of make me angry, because it's like, you know, I really like meatloaf. I could have eaten that meatloaf, but now I'm not going to like that meatloaf nearly as much as I could have liked that meatloaf. And I'm going to have to take all the best part of the meatloaf is where like the saucy sauce bakes in. And now since the sauce is gross, I'm just going to have to cut the best part off. Barbecue sauce on meatloaf makes me sad. Terry Gilmore prepares to be shunned as she admits she doesn't like meatloaf at all, on death row even. Terry, that's okay. You can come sit. You're not going to be shunned. You can come sit next to me meatloaf night. That means there's just more for me. I'll eat yours, and we won't have to let anybody know that you didn't eat it. Yeah, you won't be shunned. It just means there's more. Come on over. Come on over. I just don't like barbecue sauce, and I don't know why. I just don't really like it that much. I mean, it depends on the sauce, first off. And like a little glaze of it in certain circumstances is fine. And I guess what I don't like, barbecue sauce belongs on barbecue. Like, are you barbecuing your meatloaf over flame? Is there going to be char If not, I don't want the barbecue sauce. Like that's really like meatloaf on barbecue or barbecue. Words are hard. Barbecue sauce on meatloaf is just not the right thing. It's just not the right thing. I don't like it on hamburgers unless like it's on the meat while it's at, I don't know. You don't use barbecue sauce except for on things that have been barbecued, like real life barbecued. That's all. That's my rant for there. Tom, everybody but me loves barbecue sauce, so you know that doesn't surprise me. So music, you like A1 sauce? All right. I don't think I've got a lot of condiments in my refrigerator door. I don't think I've got A1 though. Okay, cool. Okay, so Kenny, the sauce she made to go on the loaf, she would use the brown sauce and meatloaf drippings to make a gravy when the loaf was done. Okay, it was a brown sauce gravy. That sounds good. That actually sounds really good. I approve of your mother's recipe, and I approve of your sister's recipe. Mostly because, you know, it's not red sauce or barbecue sauce. Yeah, Elaine, exactly. Yeah, meatloaf is good with the gravy too. Totally. It's really what I don't like is the you know, the spaghetti sauce over meatloaf. I mean, spaghetti sauce over meatloaf? What? Who does that? I mean, I guess Italian people do that, but who does that? Sass, you don't like barbecue? God, Sass, really, you don't like barbecue sauce either? You would think I would have known that about you. I actually did not know that you didn't like barbecue sauce. Although now that I think about it, I've never seen you eat it. So, but I guess you don't like barbecue sauce. I don't like barbecue sauce. It just never comes up for conversation now, does it? Because who wants to talk about barbecue sauce? Oh, that's funny. Hey, Chris, good to see you. So use the Yoshida barbecue sauce from Costco. Okay, I don't. Well, now, Chris, you bring up a very interesting point. When I say barbecue sauce, I am not talking about Yoshida's, because Yoshida's is really what I would consider a teriyaki barbecue sauce, which, wow, that's splitting hairs, but it's more of a teriyaki sauce. When I say barbecue sauce, I'm talking about like the flavor profile of like, you know, the Kraft barbecue or like Casey Masterpiece. I think you know what I'm talking about. Yoshida's, I've never had Yoshida's on a meatloaf. And when I started this conversation, I did actually wonder, like, I wonder if anybody ever puts teriyaki on a meatloaf. Never even heard of teriyaki in a meatloaf before, but I would totally be willing to try that because I like teriyaki. So, but I don't consider Yoshida's barbecue sauce. Although I do think that it is marketed as such. That's not what I consider barbecue sauce. So you're good to go, Chris. Your barbecue sauce slides under the radar. There you go. Yeah, good, Kenny. I'm glad that my stance on the barbecue sauce meatloaf topic isn't completely out of whack. I mean, it's just not. Barbecue sauce needs that charcoal meat essence in order for the flavors to really work, and you just don't get that burned charcoal meat essence in the oven with a meatloaf. It's just not how it works. It's not how it cooks, right? Right, Curtis, it's just one big meatball with red sauce at that point. It's not meatloaf, it's just a meatball, which is sort of just kind of how the argument went when I was getting into this argument with my friend. It was just like, everything you taste or everything you cook tastes the same. That's just one big, meatball. Mm-hmm. Oh, Elaine, barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauce to most mainlanders is very different from what Hawaii people say barbecue sauce, which is teriyaki style. Tell me about it. I grew up with a recipe for homemade barbecue sauce in my family that is Hawaiian style barbecue sauce. It's 1 part ketchup, 1 part soy sauce, 1 part sugar, 1 part beer, garlic, ginger, and pepper. And you just stir it all up and melt the sugar, and it's a great teriyaki sauce. And yeah, I always called it barbecue sauce when I was a kid. And then the mainlander kids explained to me that's not barbecue sauce. That's not barbecue. So, yeah, you're right. You're right. It is barbecue sauce to most mainlanders is very different. Meatloaf equals corpse casserole. Yeah, there's something to be said for that. But that's okay. I think corpses are tasty sometimes. As long as you prepare the corpse properly, it is mighty fine eaten. Super Schwindy teriyaki meatloaf with pineapple sounds yummy. I don't like cooked pineapple. So I don't think that sounds good. That being said, I'm one of the few people that doesn't like cooked pineapple, and I think that a lot of people would agree with you. I'm not one of them, but I think a lot of people would agree with you. Okay, Kenny, you dated an Italian lady and she thought that Italian red sauce on meatloaf was an abomination. See, well, now there's an Italian lady with a little bit of sense. I mean, it's just like Italian sauce does not have to go on every flippin' thing that you put in your mouth. Italian lady, Italian people. So yeah, exactly. It is kind of, I was stunned when it was just like, what? That's not the sauce you put on a meatloaf. I kind of felt it was an abomination as well. Let's see here. Curtis. Oh, well, Curtis. All right. Yeah. If you're going to try some meatloaf here, do a meatloaf on the grill smoker wrapped in bacon. Yes. Always a good plan. And with the sauce sounds, oh no, dude, the sauce is super awesome. In fact, that sauce to me, as I've gotten older, it's a smidge too sweet for my taste, but that's okay because you can use that sauce as like a base to make other sauces. So if you want to throw some rice wine in there to sort of tart it up, or if you want to throw some chili oil in there to spice it up, I actually like to use a couple tablespoons of that sauce mixed with a little bit of chunky peanut butter, and I use it to glaze pan-charred green beans. You can do it. It's a good base. Like I said, you can make it more sour by adding vinegars. You can make it more spicy by adding spices. Yeah, it's a super versatile base to work from. So, okay, Chris, excellent. Absolutely no barbecue sauce on meatloaf. Brown gravy mix from Costco. Okay, so you're a gravy person. All right, and then barbecue sauce for pork ribs. Yeah, barbecue sauce for pork ribs, I can appreciate that, but I prefer the teriyaki barbecue sauce that my family makes, whatever. That's the recipe that I prefer on my ribs, is the teriyaki barbecue sauce. And my mom got that recipe from some old lady on the North Shore when we were living there in the 70s. There weren't a whole lot of white people on the North Shore, apparently. So we were one of the few white families, and apparently we were vaguely acceptable because one of the old ladies shared her secret barbecue sauce recipe with my mom. So I have done a great disservice by broadcasting it over the internet, probably, but it's what I just did. Sorry. Yep, it's what I just did. Yeah, Hawaiian style barbecue sauce is winners on top of the grill. Seriously, and it's because it's so sweet and has so much sugar, it gets that black char, it kind of burns a little bit. It's just, gets that good flavor, So medium 7-Up, you're not a vegetarian anymore. So yeah, you'll be right over for that meatloaf. I know, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, when I go through after this, after this stream, I'll put the recipe. I mean, it's couldn't be an easier recipe. I'll put the recipe in the description so people can fiddle around with it in your own home and create your own your own thing. Yeah, and where you all know that the difference, but most folks don't realize that smoking and grilling are very different things that get called barbecue. Yeah, barbecue definitely is a poor word because it is so imprecise. People mean it in so many different ways. And for the most part, people in the Pacific Northwest mean grilling when they say barbecue. In fact, actually, I think most Americans, when they say barbecue, actually mean grilling, because not nobody, but most people just have, like a Weber in their backyard or a propane whateverness. They don't have the real deal, yeah. Kenny Casey, so glad I ate before I got in the chat. Yeah, I'll tell you, it always has a way of coming back to food. Who'da thunk it with, with a girl like me? Who'da thunk it? Chris, so your air fryer cooking a ribeye steak in your truck. Oh my God, you got an air fryer in your truck and you're cooking a ribeye steak. That sounds great. I think Kavika Ortiz was cooking his ribeyes in his air fryer and posting on how he did it. And oh God, those steak, you know what? It doesn't actually matter. A ribeye looks so tasty. Ribeye is the best steak ever. So as long as it's cooked, I don't care how it's prepared. Just give it to me. Oh, hey, Shot. Good to see you. We're sitting here talking about our favorite meatloaf toppings at the moment. It seems like the consensus is ketchup. It seems like the runner-up is some kind of brown sauce / gravy. And we seem to have a consensus that traditional American mainland-style barbecue sauce is not to be used on a meatloaf under any circumstance. That's unacceptable. I think we've all agreed on that. I know, right? Now I want meatloaf. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like meatloaf for me, because it lasts for like a flippin' week. You can eat for dinner, a couple dinners, and you get a bunch of lunches out of them, because meatloaf sandwiches are really good. And when it comes to like bread and stuff, I usually prefer wheat or whole grain. But when it comes to meatloaf sandwiches or bologna sandwiches, and I don't eat bologna sandwiches but like once every couple of years. But when it comes to meatloaf sandwiches and bologna sandwiches, white bread is really like what it needs to be, in my opinion. No, Shakalak, most of the chat wasn't about barbecue. Actually, it was about roofs and wrapping of houses, like in Tyvek. We talked about a lot of things, and then we eventually got back to food, because we have to have at least one food topic on Chatter with Statter every time, right? Don't we? Hey, Yamamoto-san, good to see you. So happy you can swing in. Yeah, we're talking about meatloaf, talking about ribeye, we're talking about the difference between mainland barbecue versus Hawaiian style barbecue. Yeah, we're talking about all sorts of yummy things. Or, as far as sass is concerned, we're talking about corpse casserole, aka meatloaf. And as you can tell, for some vegetarians, meatloaf is not a yummy item, but we're still talking about it, even though someone refers to it as a corpse casserole, because really technically it is. So, it is what it is. It's a tasty corpse casserole. So Tom Greek, anyone put ketchup on their steaks? Yes and no. If it's a ribeye, I do not. If it's a breakfast steak, even if it's a ribeye, yes, I do. If it's a leftover steak, absolutely I do. And if it's a really tough piece of meat and not a very good steak, yes, I do. But ideally, if it's a really well-prepared ribeye for dinner, no, I do not. In fact, when it comes to a really well-prepared ribeye, I don't... Actually, when it comes to a really well-prepared any chunk of meat, a chunk of salmon, a chunk of halibut, a nice steak, whatever, if it's a good quality piece of protein, you don't cover it with sauce. Like, I want to taste the protein. I want to taste the meat. A little bit of salt and pepper, maybe an herb here or there, but don't heavy-handed, don't season it heavy-handedly. No cream sauces, no gravies, no nothing. I want to taste that salmon shine through. I want to taste that halibut come through. I don't want a cream sauce on my fish. To me, a cream sauce on a fish says to me that fish is old and past its prime, and you're trying to cover up its flavor. So that's just me. All right, so Tom, you seem to have hit a nerve with this question. I didn't think that ketchup on steaks would be so controversial. I mean, I can appreciate why the idea of ketchup on a ribeye is a little bit offensive, but seriously, if I'm eating like at a diner and they've got a ribeye for breakfast, first off, it's probably not going to be the best ribeye, and second off, chances are I'm going to have eggs and hash browns on my plate, and I use ketchup on eggs and hash browns, and so the ketchup's going to get on the steak. It's just how that works. I might not douse it, but yeah, it happens. You love putting ketchup on your porterhouse steak. Why? Just so you like to see the people in the restaurant giving you a look like, what in the heck? Speaking of ketchup on steaks, there's this it's an old hamburger place. I think it's like a tavern or something, but like they're on the East Coast, and I think they're like historically one of the first taverns to offer a hamburger or something. They're known for their old-fashioned hamburgers. And not only are they known for their old-fashioned hamburgers, the hamburgers they serve do not get served with ketchup on them, and there is no ketchup in the place. And if you get caught sneaking in ketchup and putting ketchup on your burger, they ban you. Like, this burger is not supposed to have ketchup on it, period, end of story. They're very serious about their no ketchup rule. I wish I could remember what place this is or where it is. I've seen it on a couple different food shows. So even though a lot of what I say to you guys really needs to be fact checked, and this needs to be detail checked, this actually is a true thing. I wish I could give you the details so you could fact check me. But yeah, there's some tavern on the East Coast that will not let ketchup on their hamburgers. Right, and where? Exactly. It's a good rule for high quality meat. Don't cover if I'm going to spend this much money on meat that is supposedly this good, then I want to taste the meat that is this good. I don't need a bunch of fancy pants sauce. I mean, sure, maybe a compounded garlic butter. Okay, I'm cool with that. But, no creamy hollandaise sauce. Hollandaise sauce on a steak? Are you kidding me? Who does that? People do that. Who does that? Why would you do that? People do that. Okay, medium 7-Up. You know what I'm talking about. Right. Okay, so medium 7-Up can vouch for me. He isn't necessarily coming up with the details, but he can vouch for me. There is a place on the East Coast, no ketchup on the burger, and you will get in trouble if you do the ketchup on the burger. I'm not a liar. I'm confused about a lot of things, but I'm sort of right about this. Yeah, Cynthia Krause, I'm not surprised that homemade ketchup, you tasted really good. I've had gourmet ketchup that, they tout as, I bought it in a store, obviously it's not homemade, but they tout it as like homemade style. And I have to say, we're so used to Heinz and Heinz is like, just the bar upon which all other ketchups are sort of judged by. I was stunned at how flavorful and different like a better made ketchup could really taste. Homemade ketchup can be really good. Right, Kenny Casey, exactly. If you get a really good hunk of protein, all you put on it is salt, pepper, a little butter, and bite marks. Right, yeah, I'm maybe one step more complicated than you. Instead of salt and pepper, I use Johnny's seasoning salt and pepper. But, basically, yeah, it's a, very light seasoning and then a lot of bite marks. Mm-hmm, exactly. Oh, hey, Thomas the Turtle. Good to see you. You've entered the Hamajang zone. And yes, it's the Jamahang zone. I see what you did there. It's the Jamahang zone where Ann Ware is the Lono Brarian. Ketchup with something goes on everything. You just got to figure out the something. That's so funny. You should say that, Thomas the Turtle. I saw a t-shirt the other day that was a red t-shirt, and then it had the Heinz label. And then in the Heinz writing, it says, "I put ketchup on my ketchup." And I know people that are like that. Kids are like that. Shoot, I swear to God, kids get half their vegetables from ketchup, right? So, okay, Tom Grieve, you think it's called the Texas Tavern? I don't know if it's called the Texas Tavern, but I'm going to write that down and look it up because I am actually curious now about what I'm talking about. Because a lot of times I talk about stuff and then, as you know, I have to come back and tell you how wrong I was. For instance, the transient orcas that we talked about a few shows ago today. Oh yeah, shock. We talked about some orcas today, actually, and how Andre was right and I was very wrong. Andre said, you need to be scared of the orcas. And I said, no, you don't. And then he said, no, you do. And I said, no, you don't. And as it turns out, I do. I do need to be scared of the orcas. So there you go. So, E.T., you love horseradish with drippings on a good medium rare steak. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, my dad was all about the horseradish. Yeah, not many Hawaiian people like horseradish, but a smidgen brings out the flavor of the beef. Yeah, and when you get good horseradish, all you need is a smidgen, you know? And it's hard to find the good horseradish. Most of the stuff these days is just like horseradish sauce. You know, it's all mixed with mayo and stuff. It's not like the real horseradish that my dad used to like. And oh man, like you just need a tiny bit and the house would clean out its sinuses. Yeah. Oh, Chris, yes. Okay, so Chris is talking about, here we go. Mad Satter, he says, I saw that too, East or Midwest somewhere. They make cheeseburgers with cheese inside and deep fried with 100-year oil. I have to find it. Yes, and I believe the hamburgers that you're talking about, I've seen this place on a food show too. I think the hamburger style that you're talking about is called a Juicy Lucy. And that's when you've got the cheese on the inside. And before everybody freaks out and is like, 100-year oil? Oh my God, that is so gross. It's sort of 100-year oil. They drain the oil every night. They strain the pieces of the everything every night. They put it in the fridge. And then the next day when they put it back in the fryer, they add fresh oil on top of the old oil. So it's sort of just a constant. And yes, I know for people who are afraid of rancid oil, this sounds horrifying, but it is what it is. And it's the fact that they reuse that oil that creates the flavor for their burger. On the food shows that I've watched about this place that Chris is talking about, they outright say if we were to, completely drain the oil, get rid of the old oil, and put in nothing but fresh oil, our customers would know, like, we wouldn't have this, our burgers would no longer be the same. We wouldn't have the same flavor to our burgers. Our customers would know that we did that. It's just, it would not be the flavor of our burger. So, yeah, so there you go. Tom Greek, use wasabi on your roast beef. Yeah, well, wasabi actually, chances are unless you're getting the real stuff, you're actually just getting green dyed horseradish. So totally makes sense. In Texas, if you go to Whataburger, the only condiment you get on your burger without asking is mustard. You got to ask for the other condiments. Yeah, that's totally true. And Kenny, I've noticed that Whataburger has their own ketchup. They don't use Heinz, they don't use Hunt's. They've got their own. They've got a spicy ketchup and then they've got their regular ketchup. And even their regular ketchup is got an interesting flavor. I really like Whataburger. Not necessarily like, I don't necessarily like Whataburger in the sense of like crave it or whatever, but I like Whataburger because it's got so many unique quirks and it is so quintessentially Texan. It's just such a local Texan flippin' burger joint. I don't know. I like the culture and brand that Whataburger has cultivated, for lack of a better word. I like to support Whataburger when I'm in an area that I see one. It's like, oh, let's go there. Unless, of course, it's like right across the street from a Sonic, then it's like, ooh, Sonic has a better drink selection. So maybe we'll have to go both places. So, yeah. Dyer's Burgers, that sounds more familiar, Tom. I'll have to look that up too. I don't have my Google up, so I can't verify all these things. But next stream, I might have all sorts of things to say. Oh, and speaking of next stream is going to be on Twitch, and it's Saturday's Statterbox at the cinema, and we're going to be watching Whip It this weekend. So if you want to tune in on Twitch, I'm Mad Statter, all one word, on Twitch. And follow me there to get notified. And Saturday, 6 p.m. on West Coast, 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 9 p.m. East Coast time, we're going to be watching the 2007 film Whip It, directed by Drew Barrymore, starring Elliot Page as Ellen Page back in the day. And yeah, it's a great little movie about roller derby, and I will be very vocal in the chat talking about all the things that they got wrong in the movie, and pointing out the differences between bank track versus flat track, etc., etc. So yeah, there you go. Thomas the Turtle, ketchup with sriracha, ketchup with lots of curry powder, ketchup with sriracha, mayo, curry powder, ketchup with Frank's red sauce, ketchup with shoyu and sriracha. Right, yeah, ketchup is a great base to make sauces. And in fact, if I remember correctly, whoever it was that created the dish mapo tofu, the original mapo tofu didn't have ketchup in it, but he eventually evolved the recipe to include the ketchup, and that's the recipe he made for his family. And I guess the stuff with the ketchup actually tastes better. Who knew? Yeah, ketchup was originally a Chinese fish sauce, and it became a set of different sauces, and now tomato ketchup is all you get. Yeah, it's sort of similar to Worcestershire sauce, which was created as it was supposed to be a tamarind sauce. It was an attempt at making a tamarind sauce, and the people who did it screwed it all up. But what they ended up with, the Worcester sauce, they were like, well, that's not what we were going for, but it kind of works, so let's just make that again. It was a big old screw up, but they screwed it up in the right way. So there you go. Let's see here. Okay, Kenny Casey, there's a place on the East Coast where they claim to be the first burger joint in America. They broil their burgers in an upright broiler, and you get the meat patty, a slice of onion, and no condiment. And I think that that's the place I'm talking about. That is just like, no, you don't get ketchup. And no, you don't get to bring ketchup in. And no, if we catch you with the ketchup, you go bye-bye. I think that's the place that I'm thinking of. I don't know what it's called, but what you're saying is very much what I'm vaguely remembering. So let's see here. Oh, your spouse is having a heart attack at this lionization of ketchup, especially the mapo tofu. Hey man, it was the inventor of mapo tofu that did it. So don't kill the messenger, Scott. Don't even. I'm sorry that you're having a heart attack here, but ketchup, it's a thing, man. All right, so you're gonna head out, Chris, and get that stove and start grinding on that air fried ribeye. Sounds like excellent. Actually, we probably should all think about wrapping this up. We're hitting on the 2-hour mark here on Chatter with Statter, so it is probably time to say goodbye and do what we need to do for the rest of the evening. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I had a really good time today. I hope you guys had a good time. Obviously, I can't tell you what we talked about because we talked about way too many things to sum up, but I can say that I will be posting the recipe for the Hawaiian style barbecue sauce in the description shortly after the stream ends. By all means, use it, share it. Most importantly, make it your own and build off of it. And let's see here. Yeah, if that's... Okay, New Haven, Connecticut, Thomas says, Lewis Lunch. That sounds like they might be the burger Nazis. Hold on. So yeah, I'm gonna do a whole bunch of burger research, and then next time we talk, probably before Whip It, we'll talk about hamburgers, and maybe not. I don't know. So yeah, hopefully I get to see you guys on Saturday on Twitch, 6 p.m. West Coast time, 3 p.m. Hawaii, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. We'll be watching Whip It, and then on Sunday we'll be doing Chatter with Statter again here on YouTube, 4:30 p.m. West Coast time, 1:30 Hawaii time, 7:30 on that East Coast. So come hang out with the Statterbox. Either place, both places. I would love to see you and have you come join us. So yeah, thanks so much for coming in, you guys, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon. All right, excellent. Have yourself a great evening.